Hey, Coach, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you today, Garin?
Doing great. We're halfway through the season, and we've obviously seen the great improvement in pass blocking from a year ago to today. A lot less sacks, I'm sure, a few more than you would still like, but a very distinct difference from a year ago. The run blocking seems to have slipped a little bit the last few weeks as we played better defenses. Can you just update us a little bit on your feelings on where you are with the offensive line right now and why running the football has become more of a struggle the past few weeks?
Yeah, I think 100%. We've not had our best couple weeks, and it has been a combination of a few things. I know Clemson and Pitt, for example, were two very good run stopping defenses, and they're built to stop the run. I mean, Clemson's just they're a good team all around, but Pitt is more so a team that's going to say, we're going to make you throw low percentage fades and shots to beat you. That's kind of how they're designed. But I think the other thing that happens throughout the season is you get so much worried about game plan, scheme. But now you look back and your fundamentals slip. And I think that's what you really saw with the Virginia game was they didn't do anything crazy, anything that we hadn't prepared for. It's just, hey, we don't take a good step here, or guys' eyes are wrong, and before you know it, you have a bad day and you're not running the ball well. And I think sometimes it naturally happens. It's really the bye week came at a good time because it allows us to sit back, self-scout, allows us to say, okay, on this play, what are the issues? What are going wrong? And you look at it and analyze it. Now you're able to coach it, show it to your kids, and hopefully clean it up moving forward.
And as a follow, can you update us real quick on there's two guys that a lot of people are interested in. The first, it would be Jalen Rivers and how he's coming along and what his prospects might be to play this year. And then the second would be Navon Donaldson, where he stands in his comeback from the injury and whether there's a chance that we would see him this year. And if we do, at what position?
Yeah, we keep saying with Jalen is you see a progression with him every single week. I mean, naturally, he is a guy for us. He is going to be a guy for us. But at the same time, I don't want to put him in the lineup when he's not ready or if he's not advanced past some of the guys that we have ahead of him in the lineup currently. And the thing we always say with Jalen is whenever he does enter that lineup, you may not see him leave until the day he decides to leave Miami because that's how strongly we feel about him. And so he's working every day. He's improving. He's getting better, and he's pretty close to possibly breaking that lineup. I mean, that's kind of where he's at right now. And he's a guy that when we started the year, he was probably our 10th or 11th guy, and it seems like each week he's just picking someone off, and he's progressing each day. So we're really happy with where Jalen is. We've moved him around at every position, guard and tackle. So it's kind of set him back a little bit, but at the same time, it's expanded his brain to let him go and be able to play and function really well when he's ready to play. With Navon's he's getting closer. He's allowed to do individual drills right now. We've been able to have him into maybe some controlled team periods where it's non-contact, things like that. He's a guy that possibly could get cleared by the end of the year, but at the same time, I mean, he's a big man coming off a knee injury. We want to make sure we're really delicate with how we bring him back and make sure we set him up for future success.
Coach, we've got David Furones from the Sun Sentinel. David?
Hey, Coach, to follow up on Jalen, he's a guy that's working on the depth chart at guard, right, as a second teamer. But I know Manny Diaz mentioned that you really want to develop him at tackle. Where do you want to kind of see him down the road? And is he a guy that maybe like a DJ Scaife, you could kind of just in the future say, okay, we can fit him in at guard or tackle and kind of work the rest of the line around him years later?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the mold is DJ, and the fact of I think it's a little bit the other way around. I think where DJ's probably a little bit more of a guard first, Jalen's probably a little more of a tackle first. Although you could see him possibly play his earlier years as, say, a guard just for the fact that that's availability. And sometimes the game can be a little bit slower because you don't have as much as far as verbal calls that you have to make at that position. You can just play and kind of rely on your center and tackle for that communication. So really the thing we try and do with our group is yeah, we have ideal positions for guys, and yeah, we want to put guys in the optimal positions, but at the same time, we want to try and get the best 5 guys on the field. So I think that's why it's important with Jalen that we rep him at both those positions. That way, if a guy's slipping or if a guy's not playing like he should, we can slide him into that position and we don't weaken the other position. So that's kind of the thought process with him. I don't know where you'll see him as far as how he emerges, but I know he's repping guard and tackle, and whenever his turn, we'll have confidence in him to go in either of those positions.
I also wanted to ask about Isaiah Walker. I know he's not available for games yet. What have you seen from him in the buildings? How much is he allowed to do right now?
He's fully allowed to practice. He's with the team. Isaiah is a very, very talented guy. He probably needs a year of development, just from fundamentals, techniques, just getting acquainted to college life, all those things. But as far as his talent and his upside, we're extremely excited about his potential here.
Coach, we've got David Lake from Inside the U. David?
Yeah, Coach, wanted to ask you, I guess, about John Campbell and just, how's he been performing this year? Also curious, too, if you feel like does he have a skill set to kick inside and play guard? And is that a look you've gone with during camp, or is that something you might be toying with this season at any point?
Yeah, I mean, John clearly can play guard because he played it a lot last year. We've seen that on film. I think prototypically he's more of a tackle just from his build, his body, his game. I think it probably puts him more to tackle, and that's really the way we projected him throughout. Again, we're not opposed to anything, but our main concern with him has been developing him at tackle, seeing how he can grow and progress there.
Coach, we've got Manny Navarro from The Athletic. Manny?
Hey, Coach. Wanted to ask you about a couple of guys who really aren't playing. Usman Traore, he was in the lineup. Want to find out kind of what's happened with him. And then some of the freshmen, obviously, that you're developing, Washington, El Gamal, who I know redshirted last year. I wanted some of the progress updates on those guys.
Yeah, so Usman, he started the first game UAB, and we thought of the 5 guys, he performed at the lowest, but I think that kind of coincided with the fact that Ja'Kai Clark missed the beginning of camp and was still growing, developing. Maybe if Ja'Kai were healthy all of August, maybe Usman never would have had that spot to begin with. I don't know. We thought at the time Usman was playing better than Ja'Kai, and he probably was, because Ja'Kai had really only had about a week and a half of full reps with the team. But after the game, we just felt like Ja'Kai was our best move. Still really, really happy with Usman. I think the thing about Usman, he gives you a guy that can play all 3 in the middle. I mean, and if something were to happen, it's a conversation of the Usman, Jalen Rivers, Cleveland Reed, those type guys are the next guys in the game inside. And as far as your younger guys, Chris Washington, Chris is doing exactly where he's doing, and he's exactly where we thought he would be. He's more of a developmental role. He's a guy that spring ball comes up is going to be a really, really big time for him to come on. He's been repping with our second group. He's been repping the right tackle with those guys. So he's kind of been our tweener. He's been some scout team, some up with us. We're just trying to get him reps. We're just trying to get as many at bats as we can just to get his progress going. And we're hoping that we can see a physical change in Chris like we saw with Zion after the first year, where now he gains a good 20 pounds and his mind starts understanding the game and understand what he needs to do. And he's getting better and better. I mean, he's in all the meetings. He's with all the guys. He's doing all the practices. He's just, sometimes with linemen, it really takes that second cycle or that second spring ball until they really start to figure it out and get it. And Chris is right on track for where we need to be. And then Adam El Gamal, he's a guy we really haven't got to see a whole lot from. He had an injury. He injured himself in July, has missed all of August and a significant part of September. So we just got him back a few weeks ago and have started to shuffle him into the scout team. I like Adam's size. Adam's got some ability. But again, as far as reps and things like that, he really hasn't had an opportunity to flash a whole lot throughout the season.
Thanks.
Coach, last one for you. We got Chris Stock from Inside the U. Chris, go ahead.
Coach, with Zion Nelson, can you just talk about his progress since you've been on board from then until now, and obviously he's gotten some spot starts and how he's done. And then also with him and Campbell, do you envision it kind of being a battle each and every week of who you'll go with, or do you expect one guy to kind of emerge there?
Yeah, Zion, he's probably, you talk about just perseverance and doing what you're supposed to do. Zion, when we came in this spring, I mean, everything about it was, hey, this guy gave up a lot of sacks and all these things, and he was undersized. So, but you see the ability, you see the character of who he was as a person, all those things. And he also probably didn't get as much of a benefit for the fact that Coach Berry was his only offensive line coach in college, whereas Corey Gaynor, DJ Scaife, those guys have had Stacy Searles, they had Butch Berry. So like for them, changing and hearing something new, that wasn't as big of a transition. Whereas Zion came in, he bought into everything Coach Berry was saying, and now here comes in someone else saying something different. Doesn't mean that I'm right or he's wrong or any of that stuff, but it's different. And Zion's such a good kid that he was bought into what was going on before. So now it was harder probably to change some of his habits, some of his fundamentals and techniques than it was some of the other guys, just for the fact that they had change before. They'd been through change. But once Zion really, and then we get in August camp and we're trying to find how do we get our best five on the field. Jakai's injured. We try and play with him at guard. So we're kind of trying to figure out how we can do that if he can play inside. And he did okay there, but probably slowed his progress at tackle. Once we finally made the move and said, okay, let's let him develop at tackle, you've seen probably him and Jalen Rivers have probably been the biggest two guys throughout this fall who you see a noticeable improvement every single week. And not to say those other guys are getting better or worse, but those guys are doing a really, really nice job every single week. And Zion really, since he's been in the lineup, I mean, we had to starting Florida State. We had to start in the Florida State game because of Campbell's injury. Then we had to play him at right tackle because of Jared's injury pit. And he went back to left tackle this past week and rotated McClemson. I mean, throughout his past month of playing games, he's probably been our best performer on the offensive line, and has kind of solidified himself as the guy that we want to try and move forward in that position. And if he has a bad day and Campbell or someone has a good practice or whoever, it's our job to make sure we reward the best five guys who we think are practicing and doing the best. And right now, Zion's doing the best. But if 2 weeks from now, Jared Williams is having a bad practice and Zion and John are going, then we'll try and figure out to put those two guys on the field. But we want to make sure we get the best five on the field. And we also want to make sure we put the best five guys who have practiced the best on the field. So right now, Zion's been that guy.
Great. Coach Justice, thanks for spending a few minutes with us today, and good luck the rest of the week in practice.
All right. Thank you, guys.